Hi students, welcome back. Let's continue with the topic of federalism, what we did yesterday. Of course, this is not going to complete today, but still जितना भी अभी तक करवाया है उतना आज के टेस्ट में आएगा. Along with that, English 2 is going to come. Anyway, now, so we had seen till now that there are two kind of federations. One was the coming together federation. Now, why would actually certain state and constituencies and provinces would like to come together? See, understand if there are around 10 houses and each needs security, they would require a security personnel or they would, they would love to take actually the service of a security personnel. But that means that 10 security personnel are going to be over there. On the other hand, what we can do or what they could do is they could come together, so that the sovereignty of the country and the integrity of the country is not being broken. And with the common interest, they are going to come together so that security would be what? Sealed up. It would be common for all. And that's the reason why, for example, in USA, all the states came together and said that, okay, let's form a common government so that we don't need to utilize individual resources. So that is known as coming together. On the other hand, if you're taking the example of Switzerland and Australia, they are also the coming together kind of federations. Now let's come together. Let's come on to the topic of holding together. Now, what do you mean by the word holding together kind of federation? In which there are various diverse states, and the central government is going to, or the government is trying to hold each and every different diverse linguistic state together. Then such kind of system or arrangement will be known as holding together. For example, in the case of India, Belgium and the Spain. So they all come into the category of holding together. So in holding together, the main government is trying to give individual powers to different individual states based on their language, caste, color, creed, culture, okay? Now, the constitution, now that's something, a bit more shocking and worth noting. The constitution of India declared India as the union of states, joining of the states, okay. But it did not use the word federal, though our way of working or our distribution of powers actually is in the way of what? Federal structure. तो हमारा जो base है वो federal structure पर ही है, but still Indian constitution में कहीं पर भी ये नहीं लिखा हुआ है that we are a federal country. Okay, so did not use the word federation. Now India के अंदर ये जो federation है या ये जो federal government है केवल बोलने से नहीं होता है. You need to actually divest the powers, and it's a pretty complex process, yet a very simple one. Let's understand. So as you must have seen that in the basic definition of federalism, there has to be two or more than two tiers of government, levels of government. The first tier is of course the central government. Now central government, the second is going to be the state government. और आजकल जो third चल रहा है, that is the municipalities and the panchayats. So mainly तो दो ही होते हैं, but जो आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा चल रहा है, that is the third one, that is municipalities and panchayats. For example, if in Pune, you will be seeing the PMC, Pune Municipal Corporation. If you are going to be a citizen of Mumbai, then it's going to be BMC, Bren Mumbai Municipal Corporation. Now, and the same case with panchayats also. So panchayats normally, used to regulate and govern the villages or the rural areas. Now, constitution provided a threefold distribution. Now, because that there should not be any conflict in, deciding that who has got which powers, the Constitution of India has made it very clear and they have divided it into three levels, and that is the union list, the state list and the concurrent list. Now what do we mean by the word union list? Union list would be consisting of those important topics which are subjects of national interest. For example, currency. हर state अपनी currency publish नहीं कर सकता, तो ये department central government का. Defense, Army, Air Force, Navy, they all belong to or they all come in the ambit of central government. States cannot, by the way, ask army people to do a work. It's the duty of central government to give them an order. Also, banking and foreign affairs. The state cannot say that, okay, if the country is not doing so, so we are going forward and we are going to shake hands with China. No. So that means that even the foreign affairs ministry comes under the part of whom? Central government. Currency, as I've already told you, defense, and guys, banking system. Because banking is primarily, dealing with the part of currency and the currency circulation or maintenance of currency, and that's the reason why that also comes in the category of union list. Let's move ahead. State list. Now, state को क्या क्या powers हैं? State and local important topics. For example, the police. That comes in the state. Trade, as in जो व्यापार होता है, the demand and supply, that comes under states. Commerce, business, state. Agriculture, state. Irrigation facilities, state. सो जहां पर भी स्टेट को अपने सिटीजन्स के लिए पहले लगता है कि ये चीजें उनके लिए बहुत जरूरी हैं, तो जो लोकल एंड कॉमन इंपॉर्टेंस वाले जो टॉपिक्स होते हैं सिटीजन्स के लिए, दैट विल बी डेल्ड बाय स्टेट. यूनियन टेरिटरी या यूनियन इसके अंदर या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इसके अंदर आकर के कभी भी इंटरफेयर नहीं कर सकती. से द इंटरफेरेंस विद द पार्ट ऑफ पुलिस, स्टेट, central government cannot give direct orders that you need to get transferred from this particular place to this. The state government can do it, central government cannot. So इसका मतलब है कुछ powers बहुत clearly define करी गई हैं to run India as a federal government. Now दो चीज तो बिल्कुल clear है, but then comes the word concurrent list. Concurrent list में वो चीजें आती हैं जो कि subjects of both the interest होते हैं, subjects of common interest to both union as well as the state government. तो ये union को भी और state government को भी दोनों को बहुत जरूरी होते हैं. Let's see, a union as well as state government. So state can levy their own taxes because if they want to run efficiently, of course they would require some source of money. So they can levy their own taxes on it, and central government can also levy certain own taxes on it. Union government, अब यदि मान लो कुछ चीजें हैं जो कि जब ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन लिखा गया था उसके बाद में आई, से फॉर एग्जांपल द वर्ड कंप्यूटर और कंप्यूटर सर्विसेज और द इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी सर्विसेज. So all of those things are known as the residuary subjects. Now these residuary subjects, मतलब ये जो बचे हुए subjects हैं, of course this comes in the ambit of union government, and they have got the power to change the laws or the laws governing these. Okay. Now इंडिया के अंदर ये जो पावर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है ये हर जगह पर सेम नहीं है, कई जगह पर अनइक्वल भी है. से फॉर एग्जांपल द स्टेट ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर and even in some of the northeastern states of Jammu and Kashmir में अभी तक till the time the article 370 को abrogate नहीं किया, स्टेट ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर का खुद का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन था, उनका खुद का फ्लैग था, and they were not binded by the Constitution of India. In fact, certain laws were absolutely contradictory to the Indian state. But अभी थोड़े टाइम पहले आपने सुना होगा that that particular article was being abrogated, and now the state of Jammu and Kashmir has become the Indian state altogether, right? Now there are certain of these provinces or areas which are not that big to be called as state, और इनको हम और किसी जगह पर मर्ज भी नहीं कर सकते. So ऐसे पीसेस या चंक्स को गवर्नमेंट या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट अपने अंडर ले लेती है. That means that those particular areas are not known as states, but they are named as union territories. For example, अभी जैसे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने लद्दाख को एज अ यूनियन टेरिटरी डिक्लेयर किया, राइट? ऐसे ही लक्षद्वीप आइलैंड्स, दमन एंड दीव, all of those are not considered. Chandigarh, they are not the state of Delhi. So actually it's just called the state of Delhi, but actually Delhi is the union territory. So that comes under central government. Okay. So सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का मतलब हो गया कि इस पर्टिकुलर जगह पर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट रन कर सकते हैं. आप बोलोगे दिल्ली वाले केस में, दिल्ली इज बीइंग ग्रांटेड एज अ स्पेशल केस वंस अगेन एज अ स्टेट एंड एज वेल एज अ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट टेरिटरी आल्सो, और यूनियन टेरिटरी टू. So I've already told you, union territories are too small to become an independent state, and it cannot be merged with an existing state. Central government runs there. Central government runs these union territories. Sharing of power cannot be changed by parliament. Now very very important. Imagine करो guys, आज तो आपके पास में पावर है और कल नहीं हो तो इस केस में भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर प्रोविजंस बनाए हुए हैं एंड दे हैव क्लियरली सेड दैट यू कैन नॉट चेंज दिस पावर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम बाय ओनली द कंसेंट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. मान लो आपकी गवर्नमेंट आती है और आपकी गवर्नमेंट मेजोरिटी में आती है, से फॉर एग्जांपल लाइक द एनडीए गवर्नमेंट राइट नाउ, सो दैट इज इन मेजोरिटी, बट दे डू नॉट हैव द पावर टू चेंज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन or change this power distribution system. So this would require first step, the passage of this particular bill through the lower house, which is known as the Lok Sabha. Then after that particular bill or the amendment needs to be passed from the Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house. And then after both of these houses will be passed, then this particular so-called amendment or change would be ratified by the legislatures of more than half of the states of India. इसका मतलब आधे से ज़्यादा states ने यदि किसी चीज़ के लिए परमिशन किया तभी आप उस particular power distribution system को change कर सकते हो, otherwise नहीं. So if you are thinking कि NDA government has got the power to do all of these things, technically they can't. Can Congress government do it? No. Can any other government do it? No. That would require lower house then upper house. पहले उसमें से पास करवाओ बिल को, फिर उसके बाद में हाफ ऑफ द लेजिस्लेचर्स इंडिया में ऑल अक्रॉस उनको भी इस पे परमिशन या उनका आपको परमिशन लगेगा, तभी जाकर के कोई भी एक रूल को आप चेंज कर सकते हो. So that means it's a long process, and why it is being such a lengthy and long process, because they knew before making this कि कल को यदि कोई भी jurisdiction में problem आया, disputes आए, tussle हुआ, तो उस that particular case में जो भी majority में government होगी वो हमेशा अपने आप को change या ये rules को change करने की कोशिश करेगी. But the Constitution of India does not allow that so easily. Now इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को गवर्न करने के लिए एंड इंटरप्रेट करने के लिए वी हैव गॉट द ऑनरेबल कोर्ट्स इन इंडिया. फॉर एग्जांपल द लोअर कोर्ट और द सेशंस कोर्ट. If the case does not get passed from over there, then it's the higher court, and even if the case goes from over there, then it is the Supreme Court. So all of these three courts would respect and would interpret the Constitution of India and would govern the central government or the state government or the Gram Panchayats to finally tell them that this is the interpretation of this particular meaning of the line or the sentence. So that's all from my side today for over here. This is also going to come in the test, so guys do see this particular video, though that's a short one, and then we are going to start a new lesson from tomorrow in science, guys, and in maths too. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy. Ciao. Bye.